We live in an age where noise is power, or so it seems. Social media shouts, arguments echo, and everyone is fighting to be heard. But in the chaos, there lies an ancient force that outlasts them all: silence. To the Stoics, silence was not weakness, it was strategy. Seneca, Epictetus, Marcus Aurelius, they all knew that the louder your enemies shout, the more powerful your calm becomes. Why? Because silence reveals who truly holds control. Words can be twisted, emotions can be weaponized. But silence? Silence is untouchable. Toxic people thrive on emotional reactions. They seek chaos because chaos gives them leverage. Your words feed them. Your frustration fuels them. But when you stay silent, you starve their influence. You break the chain of cause and effect. You take back control, not just of the situation, but of your inner world. In the modern world, reacting is seen as strength, but true mastery lies in stillness. The one who can observe without reacting, listen without defending, and move without explanation holds a power that most will never understand. Silence is not the absence of response. It is the presence of discipline, a calm refusal to engage in the battles that don't deserve your energy. And in that refusal, you destroy toxic power without ever raising your voice. Manipulators are masters of emotion. They prod, poke, and provoke until you react. Why? Because reaction gives them data. It gives them control. But silence? Silence gives them nothing. No ammo, no weakness, no win. The Stoic knows that emotion is the weapon of the unprincipled. When you meet fire with fire, both sides burn. But when you meet fire with stillness, it dies out. This is emotional disarmament. It's not about being passive. It's about being untouchable. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment." This is the key to destroying toxic manipulation. You don't resist them with force. You make them irrelevant. Silence confuses the manipulator. It removes the fuel from their fire. They push, but there is no pushback. They throw words, but they hit air. In time, they are exposed. Because without your reaction, their mask falls off. Their tactics become obvious. A Stoic doesn't need to call someone out to defeat them. He simply stands still long enough for the truth to reveal itself. Silence is clarity, and clarity dismantles the games that confusion tries to play. Toxic minds cannot survive without attachment. They cling to your attention, your emotions, your presence. And the moment you detach, you become dangerous to them. You become unpredictable. You become immune. Detachment doesn't mean you don't care. It means you care more about your peace than their chaos. It's a Stoic strength, an emotional boundary forged in fire. The Stoic detaches not to escape, but to elevate. He rises above the noise, not because he's weak, but because he refuses to drown in it. Seneca wrote, "He is most powerful who has power over himself." Detachment is that power. It is self-mastery, and it is most evident in your silence. When a toxic person attacks and you don't flinch, they lose footing. When they insult you and you remain unbothered, their voice weakens. And when they try to provoke, but you stay detached, they lose their grip entirely. Detach, and you begin to see the game for what it is. You don't play to win anymore. You simply stop playing. And in that moment, you win without effort. Silence becomes the mark of a mind that cannot be manipulated. Silence doesn't just disarm toxic people, it reflects them. When you refuse to speak, you hold up a mirror. And in that mirror, they see themselves more clearly than they ever wanted to. Most toxic individuals depend on distortion. They twist reality to justify their behavior. But silence forces them to sit with their own words, their own aggression, their own dysfunction. Without your reaction to shape the narrative, they are left alone with the truth. This is the mirror effect. A Stoic doesn't absorb energy, he reflects it. When insulted, he doesn't internalize. When lied about, he doesn't retaliate. He stands calm and firm and lets the storm pass. In doing so, he forces others to confront the storm they've created. This reflection can be terrifying, because people rarely see themselves clearly until silence strips away their illusions. Let your stillness be their reflection. Let your non-reaction show them who they really are. And if they cannot handle the reflection, that is their burden, not yours. Sometimes silence isn't just about not speaking, it's about walking away, not in anger, not in defeat, but in power. The Stoic knows that some battles are not worth fighting, some people are not worth correcting, and some environments are not worth staying in. Strategic withdrawal is an act of self-respect. It is the bold decision to protect your energy at all costs. This is not escapism, it's wisdom. Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself that peace is found within, not in controlling others. Walking away from toxicity is not surrender, it is elevation. You are not abandoning the field, you are rising above it. When you leave without drama, without explanation, without needing closure, you declare your independence. You show that your peace is not up for negotiation, and that kind of silence echoes louder than any argument ever could. In a world addicted to confrontation, disappearing quietly is the most stoic thing you can do. They can chase, but they will never find you where you've gone, into freedom. To maintain silence in a storm requires discipline. It's easy to shout back, to defend, to retaliate. It feels good in the moment, but the Stoic knows that the long game is won in stillness. Stillness is the space where clarity lives. It is the opposite of impulsive action. In that space, the Stoic becomes dangerous, not because he attacks, but because he waits for the right moment, the right thought, the right move. It is here that emotional intelligence is forged. Every moment you choose stillness over reaction, you grow stronger. Every insult you don't return, every lie you don't chase, every confrontation you don't fuel, you become more powerful. Epictetus taught that our control begins and ends with our own thoughts and actions. Stillness honors that control. It is a refusal to be shaken by someone else's chaos, and it is the ultimate proof that you don't need to win every fight. You only need to win the war within. Silence backed by stillness becomes thunder, and thunder never needs to explain itself. In the ancient world, warriors carried shields to deflect blows. For the Stoic, silence is the shield. Not to hide behind, but to protect the most valuable territory you own, your peace of mind. Peace isn't the absence of problems. It's the presence of clarity amidst them. And nothing disrupts peace faster than reacting to every provocation. Toxic people don't just want to offend you, they want access to your energy. And when you argue, defend, or over-explain, you open the gate. But silence says, access denied. It's the invisible boundary that toxic minds cannot cross. No shouting, no justification, no rage, just unbothered, immovable peace. That unnerves them. They cannot understand how someone can refuse to participate in the chaos they've created. They will accuse you of arrogance, of apathy, of cowardice. But the Stoic knows better. Seneca once wrote, "The greatest wealth is a poverty of desires." The Stoic doesn't desire to be understood by everyone. He doesn't chase approval. He doesn't demand justice from the unjust. He simply guards his peace like a warrior guards his shield. Because he knows it's the one thing toxic people cannot touch unless you let them. Most people think victory is loud, that it comes with speeches, confrontations, dramatic endings. But the Stoic sees another kind of victory, a silent one, the kind that happens when you walk away standing tall, unbent, unbroken, untouched. When toxic people try to drag you down and you refuse to descend, you win. When they attempt to trap you in emotional warfare and you don't step in, you win. And when they collapse into their own bitterness while you continue to rise, you win completely. Words may seem like weapons, but they're often just noise. Toxic people are masters at using words to confuse, distract, and divide. But silence cuts through all of it. It is the blade that cannot be dulled because it doesn't rely on being heard. It relies on being felt. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." Your silence isn't surrender, it's elevation. It says, "You cannot reach me where I've grown." That's the ultimate Stoic triumph, not to crush others beneath you, but to rise so high above them that their games no longer matter. Society tells you to clap back, to post your anger, to respond to every insult. But the Stoic knows, just because something can be said doesn't mean it should be. The moment you speak in rage, you give away your power. You let your enemies know where to strike. You open wounds for public display. But when you remain silent, you offer nothing. And in that void, toxic people reveal themselves. Silence in the face of disrespect forces the world to question. Why didn't he react? What is he thinking? How is he so calm? And in their questions, your legend grows. Because power that isn't flaunted terrifies. True strength whispers. It doesn't need an audience. Silence is that whisper. It is the statement that outlasts the scream. And when the world expects you to break, your silence becomes the stone wall they cannot pass. Don't react. Don't explain. Don't break your stillness to entertain weakness. Let the silence speak. Let it echo. Let it make them uncomfortable. Because your refusal to be provoked is louder than anything they will ever say. What you choose to ignore becomes your signature. What you refuse to engage with becomes your legacy. Toxic people come and go, but your reaction, or lack thereof, leaves an impression that echoes beyond the moment. The Stoics understood this deeply. Life is short, energy is sacred, and peace is not a gift. It's a choice. Choosing silence over drama is not just a strategy for today. It is a legacy you leave behind. You teach others how to hold themselves, how to value their own emotional discipline, how to master their responses. Your silence tells the world, I am not afraid to walk alone. I don't need to prove anything. Your chaos ends where my self-control begins. And in the end, toxic people aren't destroyed by your rage. They're destroyed by their own inability to control you. They drown in the silence they tried to fill. And that is the final Stoic truth. The one who speaks least often has the most to say, and the one who reacts least often holds the most power. Let silence be your strength. Let it be your sword. And let it leave behind a legacy of unshakable power they'll never forget.